Hello everyone, and welcome to an analysis of dance, where we discuss the movements and debuts of the Billboard Hot Dance charts in immaculate detail, with in-depth reviews of each debut each week. And just like that, we're back from a promising week last week to mediocrity with this week. And while there are some signs that are actually showing some promise, the rest of this week was not interesting at all. I mean, thankfully we're at least at the stage now where a lot of the songs that are sticking around will probably struggle to make the year-end list considering how late in the year this is. With the cutoff only being 7 weeks away, I don't expect a lot of these to actually have a chance, but with some of these gaining, I would not complain about that. This week was kind of mediocre, and even if the debuts had some potential in them, they're comebacks from Zedd, Clean Bandits, and Topic, so yeah, not very interesting. But where those thankfully don't impact is in our top 10, and honestly, it's not really surprising that Miles on It by Marshmello and Kane Brown rebounded to number 1. Now, this is really only because of radio being so goddamn strong alongside streaming. This doesn't really have anything else going for it at this point, and really the margins between this and our number 2 were only by a single position on the Hot 100, so I do see this having some danger of actually being knocked down, especially considering it's starting to stall out a little bit on radio. I can't complain there. Especially when Guess by Charlie XCX and Billie Eilish expectedly fell down to number 2, and really, considering it's only here because of huge streaming, I'm amazed it's stuck around this high, and really the only reason that this isn't challenging for number 1 is because radio is not getting on board with this. Really, considering Charlie XCX is pushing another single from this album, I'm not exactly surprised there, and I don't expect this to really have a chance to go back to number 1, but the fact it got there at all is a miraculous moment. I'm not complaining either. I mean, they've already shown that they can work the single well, because 360 by Charlie XCX is also at number 3, where the radio is still gaining considerably on this, and with streaming admittedly stalling out but still being rock solid, I don't expect this to go down without a fight. It might actually be a challenger still. Certainly more so than Apple by Charlie XCX at number 4, where really it's only here because of the huge TikTok momentum and streaming. No radio support behind this whatsoever. I don't expect this to get much higher unless they actually push this, which would be interesting considering I didn't expect it would be a single at all from this album. But what's more telling for me is how much they all just beat out Dua Lipa, with Illusion still at number 5, which is losing hard on radio and has streaming really not getting on board with this at all, and Houdini at number 6, which had an established radio run but did not last nearly as long as it should have. Honestly, this rollout for this album's been a little bit worrying. I don't really expect a whole lot from it to chart anytime soon, and that's real unfortunate. It's a good album. And on the topic of weak pushes, I Don't Wanna Wait by David Guetta and One Republic feels like a complete non-presence at number 7, where radio is still throwing this out in record time, streaming is starting to fall back. I don't expect this to last much longer, and given the negative reception, I think a lot of people will be okay with that. That's fine by me too. Finally, back to a Charlie XCX sweep with the remaining 3 songs in the top 10, and really these are all here because streaming stalled out but still had enough momentum to keep them up, with 365 at number 8, although this one's actually getting a TikTok push, so I do expect it to stick around. It's still on the bubbling under, so that's promising. Followed by Von Dutch rebounding up to number 9, where this has got momentum in clubs. Again, they're pushing all these songs in different areas, but not one that's dominating overall besides 360. That's kind of really telling there. Finally, Girl So Confusing with Lord is at number 10. Honestly, this feels like a bit of an afterthought compared to some of the other singles, and hell, compared to the Guest remix, it really underperformed in a really baffling way. I thought this would have done a lot better. And on the topic of things that didn't stick in the top 10, our big fall-off was finally Contigo by Karol G and Tiesto, exiting after 26 weeks and being gone for good. Good fucking riddance. That song really soured on me. I'm not a fan of it at all, and even if it's going to make the year-end list, I'm not complaining that it's gone. Also, I Think About It All the Time by Charlie XCX is finally gone, likely missing the year-end list too. I can't complain. It's one of the worst songs on the album for me. Even with that album having grown on me, that song didn't. I'm glad that it's gone. And that translates over to our 3 falls this week, where one of them is So I by Charlie XCX crashing down to 46. This song is borderline for the year-end list, and given it just hit 10 weeks, it might actually make it just on the momentum of the album entirely, but really, it's a miracle that stuck around this long. I wouldn't complain if it made the year-end list. It's a really great song. And hell, if it's gonna take down The Spark by Cabin Crew featuring Liz Dude and Varna Crew down to 49, as it will likely miss the year-end list, I can't complain. That song gets worse the more I hear it. It's not a good Goldust ripoff either. Sadly though, the remaining 4 is She's Gone Dance On by Disclosure down to 47. And look, with that live remix that just came out, I do expect this to have at least a little bit of staying power, and it probably will make the year-end list considering it survived against Charlie XCX, but still, I wish this stuck around longer. I can only hope it manages to rebound next week. It's a goddamn great summer song and has really grown to be one of my favourite hits of this year so far. But on the topic of things that are not promising, did anyone want To The Moon by Pitbull, Neo and Afrojack featuring DJ Buddha up to 43? And seriously, this return is not welcome at all, and it's only here because pop radio needs something gutless and safe to play. I don't see the appeal of this at all. Thankfully though, it's balanced out by the long overdue return of Without You by Kygo and Hayla at 38, thanks to the Joel Corey remix giving it a huge boost on streaming, and really, even though I don't expect this to last, I'm just happy that it was able to come back. It's a goddamn great song and deserved way better than what it got. At least it's getting more than a week though, I can't complain. But really, that same mixed feeling came to our jumps, where these were really 50-50. I mean, on one hand, you've got I Like It by Alesso and Nate Smith rebounding to 20, a song that's actually growing on me a fair bit, and if this is actually able to have a run like Miles on it, I can't complain there. And also Slay by Eternals at 44. Honestly, this song's fine, it's already made its year-end list spot, and it is a good song, so I can't complain there. But on the other hand, we got Keep Up by Onatari off the debut to 31. Seriously, who gives a shit about Onatari at this point? This is not a good song either, nothing different from what he's released. Why are we still giving this guy momentum? But on the topic of disappointments, Black Friday Pretty Like the Sun by Lost Frequencies and Tom Odell is up to 19, where it's actually going to stick around and become a hit, and it's their biggest song since their big hit in Where Are You Now. That's really disappointing because this is not a good song at all. Seriously, what's the appeal with this one? But on that note, we only had 3 debuts and they didn't really inspire much enthusiasm out of me. Starting off with number 50, I Adore You by HUGEL, Topic and Arash featuring Daecolm. Feels so weird to see Topic back on this chart, especially with the collaboration with HUGEL that came out 2 months ago and is only charting now in August. I mean, seriously, the last time that Topic crossed over was In Your Arms for an Angel back in 2022, a song that thankfully flopped because it wasn't particularly good, and even despite him releasing some considerably big hits in Europe, he wasn't able to cross over for a long time, and really it's a shame because songs like A Better Day are really damn good. But now he's back with HUGEL on a song that's surprisingly different for both of these. It honestly feels a lot more restrained for both artists, and honestly, given the quality of this, I'm not complaining. This is actually rock solid. And it's especially weird because it goes down the Afro house groove with the smoother textured percussion against a really nice piano integration for more of a low-key atmospheric sound that's sort of like Move, and honestly, just like that song, it works well in cultivating the vibe. I actually like this a fair bit, especially when you give a lot of room to Daecolm's really great soulful vocals, where he honestly reminds me a lot of Kareem Lomax, and honestly that's a huge compliment. He really does fit this vibe quite well, and I get why they brought him on board for this song. But it's just weird that this comes from HUGEL and Topic, who usually make a lot of flashy music. This being their biggest hit in a while really surprises me. I expected this to not really have any sort of momentum when I saw it first come out, and yet it's become a big hit in Europe and it's crossed over here. So yeah, this might actually have some staying power too. I mean, it's generally quite good. I get why this would have a run around the world, and honestly I would be fine with this having a run in the States, but the fact that it's from Topic is really baffling to me. I don't know how to feel about it. Number 40, Cry Baby by Clean Bandit, Anne Marie and David Guetta.
Ain't the same girl I was before. You're only crying 'cause I don't want you back no more. Boy, you had your chance and you can keep on crying, baby.
And on the topic of names, I'm shocked to see her again. This is Clean Bandit's first notable single in at least 2 years, even despite some blatant collaborations that they've done recently that haven't been all that good. So seeing them collaborate with David Guetta and Anne Marie, honestly it was guaranteed to cross over, but I didn't expect a whole lot out of this. And after hearing this, okay, I actually kind of like this a fair bit. I'm actually on board with this one. And honestly, the sound of this is something that I expected they would go back to for a while. Going for more of a deep house sound with their orchestral touches, especially those violins that sound surprisingly really damn good over this mix, and with Anne Marie sounding surprisingly invested as well on more of a country sound on the verses. Honestly, I like the sound of this quite a bit, especially when you build off the rich bass and those really fun drops, as well as the acoustic guitar on verses that I honestly found quite engaging. Honestly, honestly, I think the hate behind this one that I've seen from some people has been really exaggerated. And hell, even the lyrics work well for me, where it's describing the fake tears that this ex is giving and wanting to come back to her, only for Anne-Marie to utterly throw him out on the hook as she finds out the cheating and lying and manipulation that he's done. And really, considering the descriptions of what he's done, it's for the best that this guy gets thrown out in record time. He sounds like a complete asshole. And yeah, surprisingly well written too. I'm honestly on board with this. I actually kind of like this quite a bit. And even if I don't expect it to have much staying power, and considering the names involved in Clean Bandit hasn't had a considerably stable hit in years, honestly, I wouldn't complain if this stuck around. This is really damn good. I actually really like it. And finally, number 27, Lucky by Zedd and Remi Wolf.
Simple, but you drag me through the fire. I don't regret it. No, baby, I don't regret it. Because you taught me a lesson. Now I'm feeling so damn lucky.
You know, I shouldn't even be disappointed by this anymore. I mean, seriously, it's been several years since Zedd got a proper hit on his own, and even despite him showing more promise going back to the electro house sound on cuts like Follow and You've Got to Let Go If You Want to Be Free, and especially the first single from this album in Out of Time, all those songs underperformed. So why not go back to the bland, sanitized future bass sound that dominated his 2018 to 2022 period, as if we haven't had enough of that absolute garbage already. And considering the steep drop-off in quality with that particular sound from his big electro house swings on True Colors, I'm really disappointed that this is what he's going back for, and even more annoyed that it actually worked, considering Out of Time didn't chart whatsoever, and yet this debuts comfortably in the top 30. And really, the song itself, this is bad in so many ways. I mean, putting aside the fact that this sound was dragged out way too long by Zedd and his future bass pivots, even by low standards, this sounds terrible. The song has this very sickly sweet feeling in the melodies that makes my stomach churn. The atmosphere is weak and basic as all hell. Instrumentation is cheap as all hell with that MIDI sounding piano against the utter lack of percussion for any sort of groove. Seriously, there's nothing here at all. Remi Wolf sounds absolutely anonymous to a criminal extent. Seriously, she's got one of the most notable voices in alternative music. Why do you make her sound like this? And the worst parts, the drops absolutely suck, where they go for the terrible vocal chop against the very bland stop-start percussion style, and really everything about these drops annoys the piss out of me. They ruin any sort of goodwill that I had towards this, and given the absolutely terrible quality of everything else here, yeah, this is one of Zedd's worst songs to date. And the fact it was able to chart while Out of Time didn't, a song that I don't even love but is considerably better and more interesting than this, yeah, I'm pissed off about this. And really, while I don't expect this to have any staying power considering the streaming numbers are stalling out in record time, the fact that this charted at all pisses me off. This is stupid, and really this song is not good either. Skip it. And yeah, comfortably the worst of the week, with the best going to Cry Baby by Clean Bandit, Anne-Marie and David Guetta. My god, I mean, I'm not exactly complaining, that song's really good, but seriously, if that's what your best is this week, that's miserable as hell. Next week, I really don't expect a whole lot to really happen here, considering Peggy Go's single was underperforming, and considering there's not a whole lot else coming besides it, we could have a week of some surprises or another dead week. So yeah, not really looking forward to it. But yeah, that's all for this episode of An Analysis of Dance. See you next time.